Hello and welcome to BrianStevenson.com. This is Brian Stevenson, and today we are covering the advanced JavaScript tweaks in the Google Analytics module for Drupal 6. So we've only got one item on the agenda today, and that is to cover a few tweaks for the Google Analytics module. And we didn't have enough time to cover all of the advanced settings, so you'll have to check out the rest of my series. I'll be looking at some PHP code as well as the AdSense ads and some future screencasts. So I'm also going to make a few assumptions here. One, that you've installed the Google Analytics module, and if you need some help doing that, you can check out that URL there. I cover the basic installation of that module. And I'm also assuming you're using a somewhat recent version of Google Analytics. I'm using version 2.2, and you can download a copy of that at drupal.org/project/Google_analytics. So we're going to be talking about custom JavaScript today, and the whole point of having custom JavaScript is to extend the out-of-box functionality of Google Analytics by customizing the data that you're going to be collecting from your site visitors. So what we're going to do is we're going to hop into the Administer Site Configuration Google Analytics section, and we're going to look under the Advanced Settings Custom JavaScript Code. So let me flip over to my browser here. So we're going to scroll down and we're going to look for the Advanced Settings Custom JavaScript Code. And these are the two boxes that we're going to be looking at today. One is the code snippet before, and the other one is the code snippet after. Most of our examples today are going to cover the code snippet before, and I'm going to give you one practical reason why you might want to use the code snippet after. So, how does this all work? Well, the before is executed before the page tracker track page view function, and the code snippet after is what's executed after that function. And it's important that you get your snippet in the right section, because if it's executed at the wrong point, it's really not going to do anything for you. So here's an example of adding a custom search engine, and Google does a pretty good job of keeping kind of like a running list of all the current search engines, but there might be some case where a search engine's just brand new, and Google just doesn't have any understanding of that, at least in Google Analytics. And an example might be like like some foreign search engines, like from other countries that may not have hit Google's radar yet. Well, what you can do is you can include those into your site, because if you're getting a lot of traffic from these guys, you might want to know the keywords that they're using to find you. And so what we're going to do is implement a function called _add_organic, and there are two parameters that you can pass to it. The first one is the domain name of the search engine, and the second parameter is the query string. And so by adding in those two parameters, you're letting Google Analytics understand that anytime you get a hit from these people, it's going to register in the right section of your website, which would be under the search engine section. Another example of a code snippet would be tracking domain and subdomains within the same, the same Google Analytics account. And I've made practical use of this in my own implementation. And what you do is you implement the _set domain name function. And what you simply do is you just pass in a period and then your domain name .com. And a practical reason why you might want to use this particular function is if you have multiple domains, I should say multiple subdomains, like support.domain.com or blog.domain.com, and maybe for whatever reason you didn't want to register multiple Google Analytics accounts to track all these sites. Google Analytics makes it easy for you to share the cookie in between all of those sites. And so by setting a cookie value of .domainname.com, you've essentially made that cookie accessible to all of your domains under domain.com. So that's an excellent one to use. Another function that you might want to consider using is the _add_ignore_ref function, and that will convert your referrals into direct traffic. Now you might be wondering, why would I want to do that? Well, a real practical reason would be like if you have multiple domain names that you maybe there are properties that you own, and for whatever reason you wanted to make sure that when you get a click-through from that site, it doesn't show up on your referrals section of your Google Analytics report. Maybe it's just cluttering it up and it's just throwing off your percentages, and it's just best for it not to be there. Well, what you can do is you can add a reference to that domain name, so that way anytime you get a hit from there, it still shows up in your Google Analytics report under like the totals, but it's going to be under the direct traffic tab, not under the referrals tab. So that might be kind of useful when collecting that data and displaying it for your reports. Another feature you can do is turn off the browser tracking module. Now I'm not sure why anybody would want to use this one. I haven't really come up with a practical reason why, but the browser tracking module is what tracks all of the browser data. That would be like whether or not it's Internet Explorer and what version, and other bits and pieces that might tell you a little bit about the software that they're running on their machine. And so if you don't want to collect that information, you can use the _set_client_info function and just pass in a false. It's a Boolean value, so it's either true or false, and it defaults to true. But you can set it to false if you don't want to collect that browser information. And another thing that you can implement is turning off the title detection. And you know how like in your HTML you've got like that title tag, and that title tag gets captured by Google Analytics when people visit your site. So that way you can know not only the URL that they visited, but also the title that's described in your HTML. Well, if for whatever reason you don't want to capture that information, maybe it's just not relevant for your reporting, you can turn that feature off by using the _set_detect_title and just setting that to false. Now here is the only example that I have for using the code snippet after section. Everything we just did before was the code snippet before, and what we're talking about now is that other box for code snippet after. And the only practical reason I can think of would be to track activity in multiple Google Analytics accounts. And so what you would do is in that box you would put in some JavaScript to create an other tracker, and then what you can do is reference that other tracker and then execute the _track page view function. And what that would do is not only would it be recorded in your primary Google Analytics account, but you can also track that page view in another Google Analytics account. So let's go ahead and flip to my browser window and just show you what that would look like if you put it in. We're going to paste it in, and then we're going to paste this in, and there you go. And if you have any other questions or comments about this screencast, please speak up. I'm not good at reading minds, not even my own. And do you have a request for a future screencast? Please fill out this contact form. Go to brianstevenson.com/contact. And I just want to say thank you, and I hope you have a great day.